Hey everyone, and welcome to Constitution on a Budget with the Broken Baker. Apparently, it's necessary for a Danish guy to tell all the people in the anti section of the Free Karen Reed movement, all the people who hate Aiden Carney, that America has a piece of paper called the Constitution. But Baker, you quite plump grifter, why are you talking about this now? Well, you might have seen this piece of crap being promoted around on social media. This is the JJO Act, which is in their mind an attempt to protect witnesses, jurors, and victims in court cases in Massachusetts. The only problem is none of these idiots seem to have read the Constitution because they are breaking the Constitution with the suggestions they have made in this one. But Baker, how do you know? Well, because I am not dumb enough to think that the antis have ever thought anything through. Maybe the next time they run it through Grok, they could just ask, hey, does this break the Constitution of America? Because this protection that they want to install is actually only to give the state total power of who can cover their trials. If we look at the first part, I highlighted it in yellow. The purpose of the act is to safeguard the integrity of the Commonwealth's judicial process by restricting access to criminal proceedings for individuals who have been indicted for or credibly accused of witness intimidation. Let's just stop it right here. Not convicted, not charged, just credibly accused. What does that mean in a legal term? I'm not a lawyer, but it means whatever the people in charge wants it to mean. Did you criticize Hank Brennan? Boom, credible accusation. Did you tweet a meme about how Lally lost all of his hair during the first trial? That's intimidation. Out of here. Do you know what power you're giving the state when you're removing your constitutional rights? The Constitution is to protect the Americans from the state. But you don't care about that. You just want power. And let's just look at how it runs into the Constitution and how this will never, even if it got passed in the Massachusetts legislation, it will be slapped down faster than Sean Connery. You know the thing. Because you have the First Amendment. You have the right to speak, the right to report, and the right to attend public proceedings. All three of these things is targeted in the bill. This lets the state decide who is allowed to observe a trial. They can just credibly accuse you of a crime and you're out of here. That's a character assessment. It's not the law. And if you have media credentials, like maybe Turtle Boy, who's an online journalist, they can just say, well, they are misusing these credentials because in this law marked with green, this includes when such individuals attempt to insert themselves into the courtroom through the misuse of media credentials and or other forms of influence. What does that mean? If they have media credentials, they are media. The translation is also, if you're not towing the line and part of the corporate media, you are a problem and you're not allowed in our courtroom. Court access is a right. It's not a privilege determined by the state. But Let's go on to the next little thing, because in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial. That's the Sixth Amendment. Public trial, not a selectively public trial, not a, yeah, you can come in if we like you trial. If the state can pick and choose who's allowed in the room, it's not public. It's a performance. We're not advocating that you decorate the courtroom with free Karen Reed banners or anything. But Aidan Carney, as a reporter, has a right to be there as long as he is following the rules of the court. Why are you so afraid of daylight? It's really weird that none of these aunties wants accountability. They can't be pushed down and dominated by the state harder than they are already. And they are just saying, come on, state daddy, do it to me. We also have the 14th Amendment. Due process, equal protection under the law. And how is it equal protection if Sue from NBC is allowed with the same media credential to be in the courtroom, but Aidan, if he has them, get kicked out because he's misusing them, based on allegations alone? No hearing, no standard, no evidence. This is just giving all the power to the state so they can have the media they want. This is blatantly against the 14th Amendment. That's not law, it's punishment without due process. But they will claim, well, this is just to protect the jury from jury tampering. This legislation would also explicitly address the growing threat of jury tampering through social media, marked in blue. Really, it's the social media that's ruining cases. It's not bad prosecutions. No. If your jury got swayed on TikTok, then you haven't told them the rules. Bev set the rules every single day. Don't look this case up. What you're alleging are they went home, ran through TikTok. They didn't sit through a grueling 8 weeks of trial. No, they just looked on TikTok and then, she's not guilty. What you are actually asking for is total sequestration from day one till they come to a final verdict. Because if the social media is the thing that influences the jury, the only solution is take all media away from them, put them in a hotel room, and I bet you the jury will love you for it. But is this really about growing concerns about jury tampering? No, we all know what it's about. This is because Special Prosecutor Brennan wasted millions of dollars losing another attempt to get Karen Reed put in prison. The need for such protection has been brought into sharp focus by events surrounding Commonwealth v. Reed. There are no indication that anyone on the jury was swayed by social media. What you are really saying is we tried to influence this case. We were betting that Hank Brennan would win. We lost. The public was watching. We asked questions. We noticed the deleted text, the missing phone data, all the contradictions, but none of us talked to any of the jurors. But why shouldn't we analyze this? Why shouldn't we show the world how bad Massachusetts is? Why do you want to be under the thumb of a state that doesn't do their job? Just because you hate Aidan Carney. What you want is the control of the narrative. Be better grifters if that's your concern. This has nothing to do with witness safety. It has nothing to do with protecting courts. It is all to give unchecked powers to the state and the weirdos who think this will stop the state from hurting other people. They will use it against you as soon as you're in trouble. Kate Peters has a lot of cases coming up. Do you want access to her trial? What if I make a credible accusation against all of you absolute morons on the anti side? Should you be kicked out of the courtroom? No, of course not. Funny thing is, the free can read people are never arguing that you should not be allowed to speak, that you should not be allowed to have your opinions. We'll call you idiots because you are dumb. But we will fight with you to preserve the rights. Even I, who is 5,000 miles away in Denmark, think it's horrible the way the state of Massachusetts have treated Karen Read. And I would love to help that it's not going to happen to anyone else. That's why I think it's important that we follow the Aidan Carney case, the Sandra Birchmore case, the Garcia case, the Walsh case. What you want to do is just turn the blind eye and say, yes, Daddy State, please hurt me more.